day to you, Guyana, and welcome to Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you so much for joining us on this holiday edition. I know most of you are at home relaxing and so on. On that note, I must take this opportunity to say to the entire Guyana, happy Arrival Day. As you know, years ago we stopped solely titling it Indian Arrival Day, but instead Arrival Day, because regardless of what race you are in Guyana, your ancestors came from somewhere. So we began calling it Arrival Day. So happy Arrival Day to you, Guyana. I hope that you're keeping it safe and relaxed and so on. Some of you use almost any and every holiday opportunity to have fun and, party and so on. But those of you who are going out later to do that, whatever it is you're going to do, even if it's a simple stroll, I always urge you to be very careful on our roadways. We have been reasonably quiet in recent times in terms of those very tragic road accidents that we always have, but in recent times we have been somewhat quiet, and I'd like to keep it that way. I can't at this point give you specific statistics from the Guyana Police Force regarding whether there's been a reduction or not compared to this time last year, but in terms of what meets the eye immediately, we have been reasonably quiet. So let's keep it that way. There's still those fender benders and bumper to bumper and so on, but from what we can see, there seems to have been a reduction. So let's definitely try to keep it that way. Today's program may be a little bit shorter than usual, because it is a holiday, and some of you you want to take a break from Malika Ramsey today, but you'll be hearing less talking from me on the first half of the program. For those of you who follow me on social media, I did say to you earlier that I'll be chatting with Mr. Malcom Ferreira. He is a councillor, very, very popular councillor, and a busy one, I might add. It is my pleasure to have him back on this program. The last time Malcom and I spoke would have been the beginning of the first quarter of 2017. That's back in January. Actually, he was the first guest on Facing the Nation for January. It's my pleasure to have him back on the beginning of the second quarter of 2017, because he's going to be talking about so many things that his team has done so far in terms of bettering our communities, especially the community that he specifically represents. But apart from that, we will be talking about the team that he is now heading, which is the negotiating team for the parking meter contract. Because they're currently in negotiation, we can't reveal everything and anything, but Malcom certainly will choose what he can reveal on this program. Malcom Ferreira, welcome back to Facing the Nation.
Thank you very much, Malika, and happy Arrival Day to all the viewers. Mm-hmm. And if I may add, happy Indian Arrival Day as well.
Okay.
It is May 5.
Specific.
It is the day that our Indian brothers and sisters arrived here in Guyana. Mm-hmm. But today is declared, I was declared Arrival Day. So we accept Arrival Day, but we understand that we know. So we must make mention of happy, well, I don't know if happy India, but greetings on Indian Arrival Day.
Exactly.
Thanks for having me here. You look well, as usual.
It's always a pleasure. You see, Malcom is always the charmer, but he's not going to flip this on me today. Before Malcom and I continue with our conversation, I'd also like to remind you, coming up on the second half of the program, we're just going to give you about 15 minutes of it or so. We'll bring you the Minister of State's a part of it actually, post-cabinet press briefing that would have been held at the Ministry of the Presidency yesterday. That is on Thursday, the 4th of May. So we'll bring you a part of that. But for now, let's talk to Malcom about parking meters and, of course, his work as councillor. Malcom, you have been recently declared the head of the team that is negotiating. As you know, as viewers, as you know, the parking meters in the city, Georgetown basically went crazy because some were for it, some were against it, some argued that the process in which it took to get us there was not right, and so on. So as a result of all of that confusion and back and forth and pulling and tugging for months, we have now gotten to the point where there is a negotiating team. Malcom, let's talk about what you can talk about regarding negotiating team. How long is the work of the team expected to go on for?
That's not decided as yet.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons, but mainly because the bylaws were suspended for 90 days. Mm-hmm. That's 3 months in an average. But we were only mandated by council last week.
Okay.
To look into this. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 working days, and we've had a few meetings already. There was a meeting that the media was present at with the Honorable Minister of Communities, Minister Malcom.
Yes.
And the media was present, and so they captured everything that happened there. I really can't say we're going to finish in this time, but what I can say is that we're looking at 2 months as for the end of the 90-day period. Okay. 2 more months remaining. And yesterday the minister did say they wouldn't have a problem, as in cabinet, to offer an extension, but there is no extension has been asked
for as yet.
No,
but they're
nothing,
just making it clear that they would not have a problem.
Yeah.
All right. Do you believe, again, I trust this would not compromise your work in the
You go
team.
ahead.
Do you believe that, and I mean this is given all of the confusion that we've had, do you believe that are you confident that at the end of the negotiations there will be an amicable solution to the problem, the obvious problem that we have in the city?
Well, I think outside of my belief, the entire country would hope that would be the end result. And as a part of this committee, I'm as mandated under our terms of reference is to find solutions to any impasse that may arise, right? So lots of factors to be taken into consideration, as the country knows already. Someone said to me, Malcolm, I know you're a Rasta man, but that's a poisoned chalice.
Oh.
Right? An next person said that is political suicide, to even be a part of doing something like this. But an old woman told me, she said, son, when there is need for a solution, if you can be a part and contribute in some way positively towards the solution, then I think you would have been contributing something to the overall cause of whatever you're trying to achieve. And I'll go by those words. It doesn't have to be, she told me long ago. So it has to be fixed. There is massive congestion in Georgetown, parts of Georgetown, the commercial district mainly. We're all aware of that.
Yes.
And something must be done to regulate the traffic and to ensure that persons obey the laws. Because sometimes when you disobey the traffic law, it not only may make you have to pay a fine, but you could endanger yourself and someone else. If the other passenger in the vehicle, God forbid, is your mom or your dad, and you caused an accident in such a manner. So we have to be cognizant of how our actions will affect others that have to use the same space that we call home, Guyana. So it's a lot of works, but I believe if all parties that are involved are looking for a solution could be found.
Okay, great, fabulous. Let's move on to some other matters now. It's been more than a year since Malcom Ferreira became councillor, but even before we talk about the work and your team and so on, because I know you're doing a lot for your constituency, which I'll ask you in a minute to remind the public which constituency you represent. Before we even talk about that, since we've had local government elections, have you seen, and especially this is the people who will still criticize not only city council as a body, but councillors, have you seen improvement in terms of the works of city council as a body regarding the state of our city?
It looks much cleaner, and as a fact, everyone would accept that. Now, as a councillor, I'm privy to how council operates, and the administration and the councillors and what goes on. There could be improvements. City Hall could do much more, but when you have an understanding of what you went into and the current state of it, and the current state of almost everything across this country, then you have a greater understanding of how difficult a task it is to just turn around. And sometimes in trying to turn things around, you encounter obstacles. In trying to control traffic, the obstacle was according to, and everyone know the complaints of the public and those involved in protesting. So many times in trying to do what people ask you to do, if you're not very careful and really listen, then you could find yourself doing something that they would have asked you to do, but not in the manner that they would probably like you to do it. So the end they don't see the end anymore of what they've asked you to do, just because you didn't go down the road that is expected. So, first and foremost should be the concerns of the people, and the job of the City Hall is to educate and enlighten the people as to City Hall's position, the constraints that are faced by the officers in terms of revenue generation, in terms of not having the required personnel for every position that is available, and even if you follow up the entire employment structure, you're already overdraft. How do you pay for all this additional employment? So there's a lot to digest, but before you get an understanding that you can also use an appreciation for City Hall's position when you're thinking about making a decision concerning anything. That is all. And I think we haven't done a great job of letting the public know our position and why.
I think that is a recurring theme, and this is not only for the counseling, for most of what is happening now, because I like to remind people we're still in a new state of governance in almost every aspect. And I think the recurring complaint is that we haven't let the public know this, or we've taken too long to let the public know that. So I agree with what you're saying. Let's talk about Malcom Ferreira and Team Legacy. When you were here, when we spoke in January, you had a lot that you were doing, and of course we missed some of it because, viewers, if you can recall, we ran out of time. Let's talk about some of those new projects that you've taken on and the benefits and gains that you've seen from them thus far.
Well, I work with Councillor Heston Boswick, APNUt+AFC Councillor, Councillor Caroline Caesar Murray, who is a Team Legacy Councillor. We try to do as much as we can, as we're the ones for Alboystown, Charlestown. But generally for the work, still feel as though we could have done more. But then again, someone may come up to you and say, look, clean the drains. And yes, we know that. We've submitted the proposal to get the drains clean.
Yeah, and I think we've gotten to stage 2 where people are tired of hearing drains, garbage, we've done this, we've done that. I think people want us to go a little further.
No, I'm giving you an example. Yes, fair enough. When you would have submitted that and waiting for the approval and the release of funds, even though it's in a way that it will be economical, much less costly, you still have to wait, right? So before you get into council, that's why I didn't go out making promises. The only promise was to listen to you and have you be a part of this process that we're going to take together.
I can recall.
Because I didn't understand how you get the drains clean, because when I see the figures add up, then you have to get the money. If you're going to say $30, $40, $50 million to clean constituency 10, then that has to be generated from somewhere. And as you can see, central government doesn't seem to be in the mood of extending that gracious grant loan subvention towards City Hall for whatever reason, right? So that has to come from somewhere. So we decided, look, we're going to try the old style to flush the community out using the services of the Guyana Fire Service with the hosts and the tenders.
The tenders, yeah.
Got the permission and everything. So we still await that little thing. But to someone on the outside, oh, why you can't clean it, And then I see South got some work start, South cleaning. Why Alboystown ain't cleaning? The minute, let me explain to you. The Ministry of, if you follow the news, you'll understand. The Ministry of Public Infrastructure released funds for that to be done as they see fit as emergency works for what was happening in that area. We all know,
exactly.
They didn't release
like a basin.
They didn't release any for
Alboystown,
even though Alboystown is lower than that, and that's probably going to drain into Alboystown, and then Alboystown drains last. So when someone sees something happening in another community, that person sometimes likely to compare. And that's okay.
Fine.
That's keeping you in check, to make sure that you're doing something. But sometimes you have to take the extra time to explain how it works. So we've started to move on the Pontranch Dam, that's the Independence Boulevard, to do the first phase of leveling it. The machine started yesterday, got a puncture, got some disruption, and didn't get to finish. So in front of a driveway, got a little mud, right?
Mud.
And the
Resident.
the resident hit me up later, came in later after 10 and got the message then, right? On the Wi-Fi. So we're just asking you to bear with us.
Well,
we're very sorry. It wasn't supposed to be left like that for today or tomorrow. It was supposed to be taken away, everything. But what happened, the workshop that fixes everything, GPL was doing, the council's workshop, GPL was relaying some major power work in the area, so there was no power to fix anything. So we do apologize. So we're laying down Guyana Goldfields. We'd like to thank them. They came on board. Pastor Hines from our Boys Town, Jesus Home of Prayer and Praise, he did contribute a couple loads of sand to this initiative as well. Thank you. And so that's one part of it.
So you are getting the support, and because I like to highlight this, you are also getting the support of private citizens who are coming on board.
Yes, and I was going to explain in depth quickly a little bit more.
Sure, Malcolm.
We do understand that government has to play a role, right?
Yeah.
But we're not prepared to sit and wait on government to do it. Not saying they're not supposed to, you know. I believe if we can come together as a team, as a community, and make a start, then you're in a much better negotiating position to go to government to say, look, man, a start.
It's like, you know, you're saying, don't come here with you too long, huh?
Yeah, and a minister told me that, he said, you shouldn't just run to the ministry for money to do this. There are ideas and places that we can help you. And I said, thank you very much. And I look forward to using those contacts and those ideas of how you can garner as a constituency what is needed. So after we finish the Pond Trench Dam, we've made a proposal for the St. Stephen ground to have it leveled and get it fixed properly, just smooth. And then we made a proposal. Yes, I don't like to speak of these things because they're not the first part to activate them has been activated, but they're not active. Right? So I don't really like to say, we plan this. It's like giving people false hope. But in terms of the mothers who came out of school because of pregnancy, we're seeking to address that's a big issue where I'm from. Another one is to provide jobs for the youngsters. That's a little ticklish one that we probably have to explain to them and show them examples of persons who started by earning less, but worked on the strict budget and was able to accomplish. Right? Sometimes you just don't have to say, I ain't gonna work for $2,000 a day. Me working for $3,000 a day. If it's not 4,000, councillor, me want to work.
Exactly. You
but
hear that all the time.
But my first job was much less than that, and I survived. And it will be much more than you liming on the corner. So sometimes instead of just saying them in one work, then you could probably create a small budget and show them $2,000 a day. You don't even earn $2,000 a day right now, and you lime all day. You could get active and you can use it to build yourself and give them good examples. We have our youth group. We didn't get to speak about the youth group.
The last time,
the Ambitious Future Leaders Youth Club of Constituency 10, 400 plus strong. From the age of 9 months to 19 years, 75% female, and we have 60 youth leaders amongst them.
That's a good. I want to just pause you here, Malcolm. You said 75% of them female. That is a good thing, but the same
it's a bad
time,
thing still.
Because we always, as recently, we always talk about what is happening with our young men. Let's save our young men, for want of a better word. So, what is it that the strategy needs to be changed to, in a sense, create a more of a balance? Or is it not a problem?
The 75 to 25 is not a problem, but the amount and the age range of the men, the young men, that's something that we're looking at. We've tweaked the strategy. We continue to tweak it because we understand the aim is to get them to us in a space where we can provide positive influence for them. So, we have noticed young teenage boys. That's the hardest group to capture. Even out of this 25%, the majority of that is on the 12, like 12 and under.
Oh, okay.
So you understand. So many of them would have come with the sister, the mom, make sure they got to come and all this. So from 13 to 19, they have so many activities that they want to take part in that may look like more fun than what we're doing. So we got to make what we're doing fun. So we can attract them, but still not remove the part of teaching and imparting positive influence on these children's lives. So that's one of the challenges. The teenage girls, they're in many of them, over 100 of them. So they're many, and they really function and work. So to keep this group together and to do the things that is necessary for this group, we had to reach out to private people. On the internet, anyone pop up. Many provide monetary support, some provide items. But at the end of the day, we were able to get stuff to the children and to try to help them. So we want to say thanks to everyone who's ever contributed. Many choose to remain anonymous, but we give you a rundown of what you've given us, how it went out. So we don't ask necessarily for money. Easter, we had this is probably the first kite pasting session in Guyana. We pasted over 200 kites.
Really?
The children of the youth group came, and so female and male, paste your own kite.
So indeed, what is also doing for them is teaching them to develop their skills and so on.
Yes, and this is the first time I saw the men that sell kites on the market taking kites in the community and walking and selling. Because we weren't buying kites, we bought frames, and we got the kite paper, the greaseproof paper, the glamour cherry, the paste, scissors, the stickers, a little stiffer, it's called Barbados paper, but they're not no Barbados paper. So I bought gift wrapping paper. You know, there's a little thicker?
Yeah.
And we used that. So the children got and believe you me, the neatest kites, the nicest kites were pasted by females. The girls did a better job than the boys in pasting kites. So the week before, we took them to AJ Water World, over 300. AJ usually gives us they give us the facility to use, and they swim and play, and then we come down, and so we ease when school reopens. We don't go heavy for the club,
right?
But we look after them, and we keep in contact with them. But for this school term that is ending here, we plan to have one of the biggest ever camps ever seen in Guyana for children. We may have children from other communities come on board, but that depends on the support that we get from I'll send my letters early to the ministries.
Okay, well, that's good. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, today is a holiday. We already wished you a happy arrival day. What I'm doing is chatting with Councillor Malcom Ferreira. We began by talking a bit about his involvement in the negotiating team regarding that for want of a better term, controversial parking meter contract. Now we're talking about Malcom's contribution as a councillor, and of course the team that he works with, and so on. Those of you who are now joining us, if you've missed the beginning of the conversation, as usual, I remind you can catch it on YouTube and on Facebook later. Malcom, let's continue. On the note of Facebook, I know previously you were talking about another project that you're working on regarding young people,
yes,
and how it is to cope in the era of social media.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Oh yes, well, recently and not so recently, we've noticed pictures and videos, Malika, of Guyanese school children being shared and circulated and posted, even by adults, on the internet. And the amount of shame that it brings to individuals, the families, the relatives, friends, close ones, even persons who don't know them as a human, as a woman in many instances. I'm certain there is a feeling of hurt for that person. And we even had a DJ who had a video released shortly of him, right?
Yeah.
Previously, they were the ones of children performing sexual acts, and adults sharing it, and so we decided that, but when I say we, I'll tell you exactly, but in my mind, I wanted to address this issue in a holistic manner. So I remember doing a mental health tour with a young broadcaster from 100.1, that's NCN, Fresh FM. His name is Mohammed Nazim. I remember he had invited me on, he did a school tour about mental health to collect data from school children. It was wonderful. I presented at a couple of schools. So I got in contact with him and I explained to him exactly what we were trying to do, to teach social media awareness and responsibility, but in a fun way, and then give them a guide to actually use. Not written or anything, but
yeah, you
mental
speak
guide,
to them.
right? Because they
Understood.
understand what is happening. So we got on the road and we got the involvement of popular artists, Guyanese. We have the Ministry of Education on board. They're accompanying us to the primary schools, and the Ministry of Public Health. They're accompanying us to the secondary schools.
Great.
We're doing an 11 school tour. We've done 5 so far, and it's been great. Yesterday we took Richard Ishmael. We had the former Deputy Mayor, Sherrod Duncan. We had Cody from Rough Cut. We had the ministry do teenage pregnancy and the effects for them. We had Marano Isaacs as the MC. Stan Govaya presented on good choices health-wise. And then we also had... I gave the social media guide, and then we had this guy, Malcolm Wilson, who performed. We bring an artist at the end to perform and interact. And the first school we started out with, you'll see where I'm going with this. It was St. Stephen's Primary School. That is my primary school. That school I got President's College from. So I'm doing all the schools in my constituency. Yes. And then the extras are outside.
Okay,
so I'm going St. Stephen's. We're doing Ketley Primary. We have to do Charlestown School. We have to do Dolphin School. These are all lined up already. I'm going back to my home, President's College. I'm doing President's College. We're doing Stewartville over the river. We have to do St. Joseph's. And I'm not doing, someone may ask, how come you're not doing Carmel in your constituency? Carmel is the base for our program. And those children are exposed through the school as well. The head teacher, Adams, she does an excellent job. They were exposed already. So we could have brought in another school. So this what we're teaching here, this is going to be done in club as well. So they understand. So we go on the road, and the social media guide is very simple. Young people, they're using the internet. But when they use the internet for the social media platform, we got to be careful there. When they use the internet to get the school work done and research and stuff, that's okay. We can control that much easier. So we take the message direct to them, and one of the message, how I put over my part, is to let you know when you ask them, have you seen the videos of the school children? Yes. You know, you enjoy it?
Yes. They get a certain
and then, and I say, and we do with it. Share right with them, yes, right away. Share the video, put it out there. You know, say the first thing you do when you collect this video, you say, yeah, Malika, if you see this video I get, what y'all? I'm gonna send it to you right now. So that we switch the words on them. Malika, if you see this video I get with me.
And then the entire tone and that it changes.
You're gonna send your video wrong now? No, you're not gonna do it. So we ask them to not put up your location where you are presently. The predators out there. Everyone does the
selfie.
Selfie.
Here at this point.
Churches.
Even some of us adults are guilty of it.
Churches. Yes, and they know your house is locked up home because you live alone. We show them, is the background appropriate? You dress up nice, looking like Malika nice, and your bed in makeup. Your room look.
I really like this because
your room look nasty.
Adults don't understand that. So I am happy that you're taking that.
Yeah, we're on the road with it right now. So we got the children. When I had the children in the same youth group, they don't know when we're using them as a survey to find out. They told me exactly how it affects them. So that's what we were addressing. On the road we go, we also tell them, you know, they put on the dog ears now, the Snapchat and the surgical mask and the crown of flowers and then they lick out the tongue and then they bend down and they turn around like this and lick the tongue through the fingers and all these things, and it looks cute now. So we ask them to employ yourself 15 years from now after reviewing your social media platform. No. They're not going to like it. And no school that we've been to thus far, any student has ever said, yes, I would employ you after seeing you skinning out on Facebook as a young, a young woman. Sometimes we would tell them, don't skin up on Facebook. Exactly. They understand what we're saying. Yeah. Instead of going to tell them, you need to have decorum and keep yourself well in order. There's a time when we're going to tell you that, but we're going to tell you it raw as you understand it. So it's a big challenge. We certainly hope, we're glad the two ministries are on board, but we certainly hope the Ministry of Education in particular could see the need for a continuation of a project, an outreach of this sort, where we can take it not only to the schools here, but the schools in the outlying regions, as well as in the different regions of Guyana.
I'm really happy that you're doing that. This warms my heart and it pleases my heart, and I trust that some of the parents are, because the same thing you spoke about, the Snapchat and the crown of roses and the dog ears and the nose and the mask. I remember having a conversation with a colleague, and I said to my colleague, please do not, because what people are doing they're using it for their babies, the little children, and these are adults that are doing it. And I said to my colleague, please don't ever do that to your child. Don't ever put a dog ears or a dog nose. She's like, no, I would never do that. I didn't give birth to an animal. I gave birth to a child. So I am happy that you're taking it to the younger ones, and I'm hoping that the adults who are watching. And viewers, let me say this. This is not to criticize or pull you down for doing it. Sometimes we need people to come and say to us, this might not be a good idea. You shouldn't do. So don't take it as though you're being judged. I am sure Malcom would have had his missteps and his slip-ups, and I've had mine. So I don't think you should take this as a
Malika,
serious
if they criticism. Don't take it as serious criticism, the children, our future, could be adversely affected. You're a big person. You do all you want.
But don't involve the children.
Involve your children if you want, as long as it's not abuse. As long as it's not abuse, you can choose to involve. But when your children are going to be a part of our system, then they're going to be bringing that here. You know how difficult it makes for us to have a holistic approach to just having a little bit of an understanding of how this could affect you in years to come. Mm-hmm. That is all we're saying. Mm-hmm. Don't set up your child right now for something that could affect them in years to come as they get old and seek employment, even though they got all the qualifications and running in school. I remember I had to lie and put that I live in Darwin Street, and the time put that I live in Kitty to get jobs as a youngster in this country. You understand? Right. It's a lie. I just had to do it. That was a lie, a big lie. But it was a convenient one. That's how I got the job. So this is the same thing. You are providing all the evidence that they need to investigate you. So you provide them with proper evidence. That's what I'm saying. Prepare your social media platforms from now. I got to go and clean up years back stuff what Wiki used to say.
No, that's
understandable.
I hope people don't dig back into
it. Doesn't matter to me, It doesn't matter to me because if I'm being true to what I'm doing now,
then have to come
I don't mind. I'll defend all those statements.
But the good thing is that now you know what is right now.
I know
you're doing what is right, and
vulgar stuff and all of that. I gotta go clean that up. You understand? Mm-hmm. And even be prepared for someone to say, hey, but look what you posted back then to answer that. Yes, that was my thinking, but I can now tell you this is.
I've heard one of the international broadcasters say, well, it's always important though to stand in your truth. Yes, you admit, fine, I posted that back then, but what am I doing now?
Fair
that
enough.
was preparing me for now. So, Malcom, I have to begin to wrap our conversation very soon because I know even though it's a holiday, you are extremely busy.
If you want to talk, you just say.
Yes, Malcom, I know you encourage me. Now, you talked about all that you've been doing and
with the
schools, with the team and the schools and within your constituency, and eventually you come out. Do you believe that all of that is a pattern for other councillors and current councillors? And have you yet seen them, even if you don't want to admit, okay, emulate Malcom in terms of providing for my community or providing for my constituency? Have you seen them moving toward that again, even if it's not the same type of projects that you're involved in? Are you seeing any movement to get more work done in communities and constituencies?
Well, I don't think one plaster could fit each of these sores that we have on this country. Maybe somewhat like what I think is that what you're going to make me give out a part. I learn from them. Mm-hmm. So when someone may say, oh, they should look at you, I'm looking at them. Mm-hmm. You understand? A councillor may be pursuing a project in this manner, and I say, wow, that's great. How can I use that to suit my constituency? And I don't see anything wrong with that. It's not an intellectual theft of property, but I learn from them as well. And when I'm sitting around that table, I listen and I gather stuff and I can analyze stuff because I don't really in parties and stuff. I'm home mostly. I don't really party once in a blue moon. So I don't think it's a case whereby, even though the communities are affected in similar manners, that the solution in every community is going to be the same. Because in my constituency, All Boys Town is a different community from Charlestown. There's a different norm in All Boys Town as there is in Charlestown. So one broom cannot sweep Charlestown and All Boys Town and get the same result in Charlestown and All Boys Town. Right? So we could sweep with the same broom, but providing it may not give us the same results in both wards as they were that now make up the constituency. So I don't think it's a case whereby persons are not working or anything. Some persons may not be active on social media. Some persons may not be pushing it out there. And as you know, thanks to those who highlight what we've been doing in the media, but sometimes you have to reach out to them to let them know. And so in that sense, I believe everyone is working. And what I think I know is that everyone has the heart to do something from what I've gathered around the table for their constituency. But we should all understand that financial constraints.
That too, yes.
Right? The city council is way behind financially. So that affects that. Sometimes I'm laying in bed at night and I don't feel contented because something could have been done, but you just don't have
the funds.
The funds to do it. I'll give you an example. There is a tree in the gutter in Curtis Street in All Boys Town. For the longest while, it's going overgrown now. The amount of times that we've reported, written, took the person that cut trees twice there to get it done, and and keep following up on it all the time. And a resident who's there said, "Look, Malcolm, this is the gutter. Look how long, and it's not doing not." That person has the right to feel that way, but I feel the same way like the person because I feel like a fool. Like if you're doing nothing. Like if there's a rubber stamp, if you can't cut a tree out of gutter. But in the same breath, you could fix 2 bridges, you could fix the whole clinic, but you can't cut a tree in the gutter, councillor. How the CTR could fix a clinic and can't cut a tree? This is some of the things you understand.
And you get
you feel hurt when you're not able to deliver on such a small thing. And the beauty about it, this tree is obstructing a work of council. A council employee lives right there. You understand how you feel? Like you don't even want past it, but you still have to go say, look, this is it. But how much longer should a resident wait for the councillor to cut a tree that is in the drain? It damaged the drain already in Curtis Street. How long is it supposed to be? So you understand what happens? And at nights it gets to you, because if it was in my gutter, it would be the same way I've been feeling. I wouldn't have been representing more because I know we've done outside of just get somebody, pay them out of my pocket. I'll be honest, if I had it, I would have done it. We receive a stipend that is minimum wage as a councillor. Very thankful.
Okay.
Understand? I don't have it to do it. You understand? Next way I could see is that just tell the residents but there are not many persons that cut trees around.
Okay.
So you probably have to go back to the same person.
You gotta go back to the same
We'll get
person.
someone to cut it, and if the residents pay, then I can make a representation to council to have it deducted off the rates that are owed by the buildings, because it's a duty of council, but it has to come down. So sometimes you have the good stories and then you have the bad ones. And the bad small ones, like if you say, councillor, we need a light bulb to change and this got to be looked after. And you go and you make representation, and then there is a process for everything, as you know, in organizations, right? The person shouldn't understand that to get a light bulb, it has to go through a process. So that would mean me going in my pocket and buying a light bulb. Oh, I wish we were paid or remunerated
because the thing is,
like parliamentarians.
Once you start,
don't even wait, let finish the sentence.
The public heart that shit. And the thing is, once you start that practice, people are going to be it's human nature. People are going to be expecting it all the time.
A taxi driver told me, "Say, Malcolm, you're a glorified beggar for your constituency."
Trying to figure out if that's that's a compliment.
I figure.
It's a compliment.
I couldn't say I agree,
Malcom Ferreira, it's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
I did say to the viewers earlier that this is the second quarter of the year. Second quarter has begun. I hope to have you back at the beginning of the third, so that we can talk some more about what you're doing, and by then it will be some more progress. And I guess by then we'll be once again probably preparing and getting in the mode for another local government elections.
Well, it's constitutionally due every 3 years, but the 3 year is going to land in December. So the March that we had last year was supposed to actually be December of the previous year.
Okay.
So according to the president, when he addressed council, he is looking to mandate it to land back exactly, because it falls in between national elections.
Understand that.
So he's looking to put it back how it is supposed to be at that time. And we work from there. Every 5 cycles, we should be the same year with national election. 3 5 15, 5 3s 15.
My maths is not good, but thank you.
But apart from that, next, I'm not too certain if I would go again. I'm not too certain.
Okay, the public is not going to be happy about that, but I will have a discussion with you off camera, sir. Viewers, this is Facing the Nation. I take this opportunity to thank Malcom Ferreira for coming. He is always a pleasure to chat with. What we'll do now, I did promise you on the second half of the program, and you'll just get about 15 minutes of it or so. By the time I come back, it will be time to wrap up today's program. But for now, take a look at Minister Harman, Minister of State, the Honorable Joseph Harman. He briefed the media yesterday during the post-cabinet press briefing at the Ministry of the Presidency. I'll ask our operator to pull that up now so that you can continue to be informed. And again, by the time I get back with you, it'll be time to wrap up today's program. This is Facing the Nation.